Hello everyone, welcome to drainage of Uganda. This is paper 3 and we are going to look at the drainage as a second topic of our study right here. So we are starting straight away and we're saying under this course we're interested in looking at the following one. That's the introduction, legs, formation of legs, and some likely questions which we shall put in assignment. So we are saying under drainage, what is drainage, if you may ask? Drainage of Uganda. So we are saying drainage as a geographical term refers to waterlogged areas of rivers, lakes, swamps. It's the different water source in our country. So where we find water on the surface of the earth, that qualifies it to be drainage, not the one that you've poured, but the one that comes naturally. Uganda has got different drainage system of lakes, such as Victoria, Kyoga, Albert, Bisina, Wamala, rivers such as Nile, Katonga, Kagera, Nile, swamps like along rivers and lakes, others like Lubiji, Navajuzi, and Kirihil, mentioned but a few. So quite a number of these are just a few examples, but when you go around your area where you stay, you're going to find different swamps plus lakes and rivers. So we're saying we are blessed to have quite a number of rivers and lakes, as we can see right there. It's one where our country is located actually in the Great Lakes region of Africa, where we have the largest, that is Lake Victoria, as you can see right here. And then we have others like Edward, George, Albert, Kyoga, Wamala around this area, and we have also Bisinia and rivers which originate from Mount Elgon, as you can see right here. And then one of the longest and biggest, that's the River Nile, coming to Lifty around here, the Victoria Nile, the Albertine Nile, and then moving up to Sudan and up to the Mediterranean Sea. We are having quite a number as lakes and rivers, and also blessed with quite a large volume of surface water under our country, and that is the drainage that makes up Uganda, as we can see right here. So the lakes, the rivers, and the swamps that do possess water make up a considerable area of the drainage that we do have in Uganda. It's quite important, and we use it for different things, as we shall see. So we want to look at the distribution of drainage systems in Uganda, how they are distributed. Why do we have so much here and so many there, and where are they actually? So we're interested in how or where or the manner in which they are distributed, the manner in which they are spread across our country, Uganda. So we're saying lakes. Let's start with lakes. Under lakes, we have different lakes, as we've seen earlier, and we want to understand what a lake is. A lake is a body of water contained in a hollow with a basin. The size, depth, and permanency of a lake depends largely on the nature of the basin in which it is located. We are saying the nature, the width, the depth, the parent rocks around that area do determine a lot in the formation of this lake. And we're also saying in Uganda, therefore, are various lakes like Victoria, as well, you would say, the largest, Kyoga, Wamala, Albert, George, Edward, and Mburo, and Bisina, and other volcanic lakes found in southern western part of Uganda. So different lakes are formed by different processes. So where we said the Rift Valley Lake is formed by a process of faulting, and then that of the craters and whatever, that's under volcanic lakes. And then we have crust-warped lakes, and those are lakes like Kyoga and then Victoria formed, and Wamala formed due to the crust warping, where we see warping taking place on land and then creating a depression or a basin, which later is filled by water, as we shall see earlier. So right here on our map is just trying to show us the kind of lakes that we do have, the rivers that we do have. So far, looking at this, we have the largest as Lake Victoria, and then this is Edward, and then this is George, and then this is Albert, and then Around this area is where we find Wamala, and then many others and many others. So this briefly helps us to understand the kind of lakes that we do have in Uganda. Quite a number. So lakes can be classified as follows. So under classification, we want to look at the types of lakes, and then their formations. So we are saying number one, Kyoga and Wamala and Bisina are formed due to crustal warping in downwarped basins. Such lakes are generally large and irregular in shape, shallow in depth, surrounded by swamps, and their shorelines show influence of drowning in form of numerous inlets. So they have inlets quite a lot and outlets. So we are saying these are formed by crustal warping in downwarped basins, where these forces of warping act on a certain area, forcing one either sides to move up, and then that is up warping, where they raise up, and then the central bit is left down, which we call down warping, which later leads to the basin formation, which is filled by water to form a lake. And one of the largest lake here is Lake Victoria, and it is formed due to crustal warping. And then Kyoga, and then Wamala, formation of Lake Victoria. So I want to understand one of the types of the lakes that are formed by crustal warps, and the largest there being Lake Victoria. We just want to understand how it is formed. So we're saying Lake Victoria is a crustal warped lake located in down warped basins in southeastern Uganda. Downwarping and upwarping of the landscapes in Uganda occurred due to the increase in the lateral compression force, which affects the earth crust over a wide area. What do we mean here? That due to upwarping and downwarping process, where we see different forces acting on the same piece of land, forcing the other side to move up, and then this other side to move down. That's causing what we call a basin, which is filled by water, and later we get a lake. So we're saying crustal warping also led to the general reverse in the drainage system of Uganda. Rivers such as Katonga, Kagera, Kafu, Mayanja, which were originally flowing towards Atlantic Ocean, reversed their water due to uplifting of the western Uganda to overflood the central basin. So we're saying they were moving the other side, and when the relief was changed, they were forced to flow back, thus flowing back into a basin, which right now we have as a lake, one of the largest lake. Not one of the largest, but the largest in Uganda and in Africa. So we are saying this is formed due to the reverse flow, the general reverse in the drainage system, where we see rivers such as Katonga, Kagera are forced to reverse their flow, and then due to the upwarping, as you know, a river can't climb a mountain, can't climb a hill, so it is forced to raise up, and then leading to this, and then causing what we call a basin, which is later filled by water to form Lake Victoria. So it's Victoria, it's Kyoga, it's Wamala, and all these lakes are formed due to crustal warped. So crustal warping also leads to general reverse, as we said earlier, and then this is just a diagram to help us understand where we have Renzori. This is now the cross section of Uganda, from the western part to the eastern part. So as you can see here, the movement or the uplift of this area, and then the uplift of this area is forcing these rivers to flow backwards, and then filling this basin, and then this basin later forms a lake known as Lake Victoria. So that is what we're trying to explain here diagrammatically. So we are saying the increase, the uplift of this area and the uplift of this other area caused the depression around this area, which forced these rivers to flow backwards or to reverse their flow. As we know, rivers don't move, they don't climb or don't drain moving at a higher elevation. They just originate from a high elevation flowing down the low elevation. So this forced the rivers to have a reverse flow, which had filled up our basin that we have right here, and then we see Lake Victoria being formed. So formation of Lake Albert, we've just seen the crust-swamped lakes. Briefly, we put a case study of Lake Victoria. Right now, I want to look at the formation of Albert, which Albert is formed due to the process of faulting, and this fault lake, as we shall see. These are located in the Rift Valley, occupying grabens formed by secondary faulting, which was initially caused by the tension and compression forces. Fault lakes are narrow and elongated in the shape, bordered by the steep sides of fault scarps. Their waters are usually saline, and the inlets and outlets tend to be confined at their extreme end. Such lakes include Albert, George, and the Edward. These are the lakes that we're seeing right here, here. So these are located in the Great Rift Valley of East Africa, in the western arm of the Rift Valley, where it occupies the border of Uganda and Congo. So that's what we see right there, and we're saying this depression created at the bottom of the Rift Valley, which are later filled by water, and then they form what we call fault lakes. Moving on, we are saying also this is just a brief to help us understand how they are formed, and it's a process of faulting due to tension and compression forces in the graben within the Rift Valley, and then Lake Albert found in the western part of of Uganda, and then in the western Rift Valley is majorly believed to have been formed by compression forces due to its steep Butiaba escarpments. According to the compression force theory, the existence of compression force within the crust act upon and push the adjacent block, forming fault lines. The central block thrusted against the adjacent blocks, forming an elongated depression stroke Rift Valley. So that briefly helps us to understand the fault due to the tension and compression forces. But here we are trying to bring out the compression because the force that acted onto this area and formed the western part of the Rift Valley. So we're saying right here, these are the diagrams to help us understand. This is a layer before anything has acted on it. This is a layer, a block of soil that is showing us the action of tension, which breaks it into two. You see these dots, the arrow going up, and then this one going up and down. That are the lines of weakness, which we call faults. So it's forced to move, and remember the earth keeps moving and spinning around the sun, thus causing also movement of different tectonic plates within the earth crust, which later pull these either sides, and then we see a formation of a depression within these two blocks, which later form a Rift Valley. And we're saying it's a narrow depression sided by escarpments and formed due to faulting. So that is what we have right there. So when they are formed, the bottom valley down right here we see formation of lakes due to the accumulation of water at the bottom here, and then forming a basin, which later we see a lake. So that explains briefly the fault lakes and how are they formed. Formed due to the process of faulting. Now I want to look at the volcanic lakes. Under volcanic lakes, our interest is as simple as looking and understanding the process of volcanicity and how it does occur. As earlier we looked at volcanicity, we are also saying under volcanic lakes, these are formed by volcanicity and occupy craters and caldera formed as a result of eruption. So when we see this explosion taking over and then toppling off the top, it's going to leave a depression there, which later is filled by water to form such lakes. So that depression is closed up by the magma which failed to reach the earth's surface. So we see a lot of activities around that area. So we are saying when the cratered craters or calderas are filled with water, then they form crater lakes or caldera lakes. These include lake like Katwe, Nyungu, Nyamilangira, Nyamunuka, Chamonga, Manyanyange, and Nyamusingire. all in Western Uganda. So Western Uganda is blessed to have all of this because it quite received the effects of volcanicity up to now. So that area around there. We are also saying formation of volcanic lakes. How are they formed? We have lava dammed lakes are formed when lava flow blocks the flowing of river and floods a valley to form a lake, such as Bunyonyi in Kavale, Mutanda, Butera, Muhondo, Mulehi, Ndalanga, all in southwestern Uganda. Why southwestern Uganda? Because this area quite received enough occurrence of this process of volcanicity that causes this. So we see blocking of these rivers and then for causing the back river to dam, and as it is damming, it forms what we call a volcanic lake. And then we're also saying that the other type is when we see crater and caldera. On a crater and caldera, this is where the top is blown off and we see a depression created around that area which is filled by water, forming a volcanic lake. Now we're on glacial lakes. Glacial lakes just come from the process of glaciation, where glacier do erodes the surface of the area where it is, the island, and then through the erosion we see creation of different holes, and which we call cirques and corals and turns. So we are saying these occupy cirques on high mountains of Rwenzori formed by glaciation process. The constant erosion caused by the glacier on the snow-capped mountain of the moon, shallow steep-sided depression are created known as cirques. So we're saying the cirques, the depression there, which are left behind, are the ones that are filled by water, and then we see lakes formed. For example, we have Speke, like Lucky Catherine, Lucky Knoll, Lucky Vat. These are found on the slopes of Mount Wati, Rwenzori. So these are lakes formed due to that process of glaciation. And then formation of weather lakes. These are lakes. We are saying the chemical weathering acts on the some rocks and then a special limestone and make them break. In such place, all large pits are formed when the pits are filled with water, or the small lakes known as solution lakes are formed, like in Nyakasura, southwestern Uganda. That is it. Then we want to look at the man-made lakes. These are lakes made where man digs large depression in. For example, Kabaka's Lake in Indeba, then in Kampala, and then Lake Kibimba in eastern Uganda, and then others lakes. These are formed through digging fishing ponds like Maogola and Kapchora in eastern Uganda. Others were formed as valley dams like in Nyabushozi, Kashiari, and Isingiro in southwestern Uganda. So this is made by man. Man gets a hole and then starts to dig, creating a basin which is later filled by water, and then it forms a lake which we call man-made lakes. Man-made lakes. So next we have deposition or oxbow lakes. These are formed by the process of deposition, as we shall see. These are formed as a result of erosion and subsequent deposition along the lower course of a river. So continuous deposition fills that area, and remember the river is moving at a slow speed here because it is well loaded and the area is a little bit flat and gentle, so it does not give it enough momentum to move and then erode in a vertical way. So it erodes lateral and headward. So we're saying such lakes are usually shallow, small, and sometimes temporarily oxbow lakes. Formations get by meandering of rivers. So when we see rivers meandering and then creating and leaving out, so we shall pick on from here. Thank you for attending, and then we shall be seeing that into details into our next lesson, as where we see as most of these lakes are differently formed. Thank you very much. We shall pick on from there.